What is Tantra? Seems like an easy question, not that easy to answer. Before I got into Tantra and this kind of lifestyle, I thought, just like many people around the world in Western societies, I thought that Tantra was just about sex. But I was wrong. It's not. I was interested in it because of the sexual aspect for a long time, but I never really looked into it or spent the time looking into it. Me and my ex-partner went to a Tantra night one night. I liked it, but I kind of like just left it and never approached it again. But when me and him got divorced, I became a lot more interested in Tantra again because I had some sexual encounters with men after my divorce that were kind of like, is that all there is? So I was looking for a connection, but I didn't know it at the time. And after my first few Tantra classes, I discovered that you can have so much of a deeper connection with people. After every Tantric workshop that I went to, I just came out glowing and thinking about different perspectives, rethinking myself and just healing myself in different ways. And so I just knew that this was an incredibly powerful tool slash path to follow, and I just wanted to immerse myself fully, and I became a Tantra teacher. I'm still a very new Tantra teacher, and I'm still trying to grasp the enormity of what I have gotten myself into, because as soon as I started delving into Tantra deeper, I discovered that the question of what is Tantra isn't actually as easy to answer. And the reason for this is because there are so many different parts to Tantra. There's the westernized Tantra, there's ancient Tantra. Excuse me. Hi, my name is Steph Wild and I've got a cat butt in my face. Even in ancient Tantra, there were different types of Tantra, different arms, and then some of the information has been lost throughout the ages. Some of the teachings thrived and moved up, but in a lot of cases it was a very sacred practice that kind of just traveled from one teacher to another. So not many people did have access to it, and so Tantra, I guess, has evolved depending on the teachers that were passing on this information and their perspective on the world, because each one of us has a different perspective on the world. Tantra is a bit of an enigma. David Gray, who I have no idea who he is, but he's quoted on Wikipedia, describes Tantra as Tantra traditions are manifold, spanning several religious traditions and cultural worlds. As a result, they are also diverse, which makes it a significant challenge to come up with an adequate definition. And according to George Furstein, also off Wikipedia, the scope of the topics discussed in the Tantras is considerable. They deal with the creation and history of the world, the names and functions of a great variety of male and female deities and other higher beings, the types of rich worship, especially of goddesses, magic, sorcery and divination, esoteric physiology, the mapping of the subtle or psychic body, the awakening of the mysterious serpent power, the Kundalini Shakti, techniques of bodily and mental purification, the nature of enlightenment, and not least sacred sexuality. So no wonder everyone is freaking confused. Osho, who kind of made Tantra a little bit more mainstream in the West, he's the guy that had a bit of controversy around him. I actually kind of like some of his teachings. He has a different perspective and you can learn a lot from him. He describes Tantra in this way. Tantra is about truly loving and embracing all of life, and through this love, remembering our essence, the divine. Tantra is a life path, which to me sounds beautiful, and it's much easier than the other ones to explain, but that's essentially what I've gotten out of Tantra, is a life path, because it encompasses, brings in all different parts of your life, and so there's a lot to learn and a lot to benefit from. Tantra isn't all about sex. And one way that I've heard being described was by a teacher called Anjali Love, and she always talks about how Tantra isn't about suppression, but it's also not about indulgence. It's directly in the middle. While in the West, we have a lot of suppression and a lot of indulgence because of that suppression in the first place. The sexual energy is so potent and so powerful, it's going to come out in some ways, no matter how hard we try to suppress it, because sexual energy is our life force. At the moment, what we're seeing, it's not really that positive on these two ends of the spectrum. There's people getting hurt, people that are never able to own the part of themselves that is sexual, and the fact that sex is the most innocent, natural thing in the world. We all came from it. Why is it that pregnancy is seen as so innocent, but sex is seen as dirty or taboo or something that you should be ashamed of or guilted about? Sex is what led to that innocent pregnancy and then the beautiful baby being born. So why? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. One of the beauties of modern Tantra is that it's helping us to just be able to learn and educate ourselves properly on this area of life, and just be able to understand ourselves and each other a lot better. And that's why the West has gotten stuck on the sex part of Tantra. I love the fact that Tantra has become a channel for us to be able to reclaim this part of ourselves, to be able to just feel the freedom of being able to experience and explore this side of ourselves without feeling shame, without being judged, and without feeling guilt for doing what is natural for us. Just maybe we can accept that feeling pleasure in sex and in everyday life. Maybe we can accept that pleasure is a new way of being, that to feel joy and happiness is the way forward. You know, what we're taught about sex these days is from either porn or our experiences or the crappy sex education at schools. What modern sex education doesn't teach is how we can experience pleasure. It doesn't teach about boundary setting and knowing what we do and don't want, listening to our intuition, listening to our body's wisdom, the sacredness of sex, the energetic exchange that happens during sex, reaching orgasm and being multi-orgasmic for both men and women without ejaculating. I didn't even know that was possible for men, but it is so empowering. Self-expression, being able to express ourselves freely. Modern sexual education doesn't teach about the art of slowing down. It doesn't teach about equality between the man and the woman and having respect for each other during courtship and the sexual act, and afterwards as well. And also how the masculine and feminine energies work and how they can unite. Modern sexual education doesn't teach about letting go of the ego and coming from a place of just pureness. Modern sexual education doesn't teach about how to communicate with our partner and talk about our sexual desires and needs and building better relationships and so much more. Modern sexual education doesn't teach that. So here comes Tantra that is teaching all of this. We're starved for this type of education. Our societies and our cultures are suffering because we're not educating ourselves in different areas of life, such as sex. Everyone kind of seems to get their own thing from it, and everyone benefits in different ways, essentially. It is here as an opportunity to be able to reclaim our power. And that's when we experience more freedom and more connection to others, more connection to ourselves, and more connection to the world around us. And that's when we start to respect ourselves, others, and the world around us and our communities. I've seen it heal trauma. It's helped me heal my own trauma. It's a tool. There's many different tools around the world that can help us reach these states, but Tantra is just one of them. And you gotta make sure that you decide which tool you wanna use for your own unlocking of your own truth, because that's what Tantra does. It helps you unlock your own truth, and it makes you think about a different perspective and a different way of living life. It's just all beautiful. it helps us decondition ourselves from what we've been conditioned to believe and how we're supposed to act. We're allowed to explore ourselves. So in a nutshell, I've tried to explain to myself as well as to yourself what modern Tantra is, what ancient Tantra is, or kind of what we know, and that's in a nutshell. I know there might be some hardcore tantrikas watching this video that do not like my explanation, but I've tried my hardest and I think I've done okay, at least. So in this video I tried to explain my view of Tantra, and everyone's view might be different based on their own experiences and what they've learned, the books they've read, and all sorts of things. Hopefully this has kind of made sense of a few different things and why I'm so passionate about it and why I think it can change the world for the better if it comes from a place of love and good intentions. These are powerful tools for us to be able to use. And that's it. I think that's it for now, because this may have discombobulated your brain just like I feel it has mine, but I have a friend where we always discombobulate our brains, and she says that it's brain exercise, and we exercise our bodies, and sometimes it's good to exercise our brains as well. So we're building those thinking muscles. Either in a positive or a negative way, you decide. You enjoyed this video, even though it was all over the place, and like what we're about to start creating in this amazing community, then subscribe to the channel, like this video, and please share it with others as well so that we can make a huge positive difference and help the world become a better place. That's what I'm passionate about doing. And join me on Instagram, Facebook, and let's just connect, man. Let's connect. Love you. Mwah! See you next time.